Hey, okay, so this particular video is actually a follow-up to a video I did back in 2018, I believe. Yeah, that sounds about right. The video was when I talked about Christian Bale in Star Wars. I never thought that that I'd be doing a follow, but here we are. Oh my gosh. So, to as he says in The Princess Bride, let me sum up. So back in 2018, uh, Christian Bale said that he wanted to be in Star Wars, and in fact, he knows Kathleen Kennedy from being in Empire of the Sun. And at first I thought that it was just journalists saying that it was a rumor, and because that happens a lot, and then you get like 5 paragraphs about their career, and it's not really anything. you know the rumor is nothing. Well, it actually turns out that he met Rian Johnson, and they wanted him to play the extended universe character Darth Revan, because they had an idea for either a TV series or a movie for Darth Revan. And and of course I'll put that video in the description box so you can see it, because all the articles are there. It did happen. Now, here's the thing. When that news actually dropped, fans of Star Wars weren't happy with the idea of Christian Bale being part of the Star Wars family. Um, especially playing Darth Revan. Now, I even remember thinking, okay, so Darth Revan, I'll put his picture here. This particular character, he wears a mask. Now, it's been a while since I've read the story of Darth Revan, and I can't remember, because not only does he have his own book and everything, but it seems like he shows up in other books as well. And I don't remember him ever being unmasked. You can correct me, of course. You can tell us if he was. I just don't remember. But the thing is that he has a mask. So to be honest, they could drop Christian Bale. They wouldn't know. Nobody would be the wiser. You know, it could be like the Masked Singer for all we know. But people were pissed. Fans did not want Christian Bale. And one of the arguments that I saw was, well, he screwed up Batman. I don't want him here. I've come across this a lot. How did he do Batman dirty? Look, there have been characters that I've been very passionate about, and I wasn't happy with how they were portrayed in live action. Okay, so I've been that way. But what did Christian Bale do? I understand that the Batman fans can get not toxic, but well, there are a few that can get pretty toxic. But like, I have never heard a Batman fan say bad things about Tim Burton's movies. And like, Tim Burton is like on a whole other level. He's like in his own in his own realm. So I would think that there would be those that would say something about him, which thank goodness they never have. I mean, before they ever saw Rob Pattinson's Batman, they were ripping him apart for being in Twilight. Look, Twilight is over. Twilight is fucking over, okay? Just, he's grown up, and he hated being in Twilight when he was in it. It was a paycheck. This is coming from someone who hates Twilight, and we don't want this to be too much. So I'm just trying to figure out what Christian Bale did to Batman that was so bad. Tell me in the comment section. Anyway, So, yes, I mean, they were naming other people. Now, you have to understand also that in 2018, the Avengers movies were starting to come to an end. I believe this is also the time that Mandalorian, we were waiting for it. I believe it. Now, you can correct me, of course. My timeline might be a little skewed, but I don't believe that it came to Disney Plus in 2020. I believe it came in 2019. You can correct me. I don't watch TV, but I'm trying to remember if it, I could have checked, but I'm too lazy. Plus, I like hearing from you. So, but it seems like in 2018, we were counting down for The Mandalorian. It had already been announced. And then there was also this. Now, as for Christian Bale, he voiced Bagheera in the Mowgli movie, not to be confused with Disney's Jungle Book live action movie. And he also did the Dick Cheney movie where he gained all that weight. To be honest, I didn't know that that was him. I, I just remember seeing a picture of his wife, and he was standing with his wife, and I was like, "Who is that? Who is that with his wife?" And then I suddenly realized that that was him, and I was just like, "Holy shit! Oh no!" Oh man, I had no idea that he gained that much weight. Dude, that's unhealthy. Don't do that ever again. Uh, a job isn't worth that. And that's basically what acting is. Acting is just a job. I don't know where people are so out of touch with that. It's like entertaining the masses is not worth that. Oh, good heavens, boyo, why would you don't? Don't do it. You're almost 50, son. Oh, goodness heavens me. All right. So then he only did those two movies in 2018. And but I but he was talking about how he would love to do Star Wars. He's a big fan of Star Wars. He still has his action figures. That was something that he said at the time. And I remember mentioning that in the video. And so but but fans were like, no, we can't, no. I just couldn't understand why fans just but the the ones who are also Batman fans said absolutely not. So yeah, so fast forward to now. Okay, so he's done the Marvel movie, he played the Marvel villain, played Gore, and also that article dropped. Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. All right. Now, a lot of times when actors and actresses play an iconic character, they have a new wave of fans. Okay. And it always happens. Like My Chemical Romance, I I'm part of the original fans because I watched them grow up and up to the point where they said up until 2014 when they said this is the end. And then all of a sudden back in, I believe it was 2019, which was such bad timing, man. Oh, those poor dudes, because they voiced, they announced that they were back, right? And they did their first concert, and then all of a sudden the pandemic hit, and it was just like, oh. But anyway, so they have this new wave of fans, this younger generation of fans. Green Day has it all the time. I mean, it's like a new album hits and they have a new all the time. I've become friends with a lot of the even those that remember seeing them when they were releasing that first album, it's really cool. So so this happens a lot. I mean, even with like Robert Downey Jr. when he became Iron Man, new wave of fans, Iron Man and Sherlock. And so uh so like with Christian Bale, uh I'm sure when he became Batman, there were a lot of people that didn't like him being Batman, but there were a lot of people who did. And now he's in the Marvel franchise, and he's got this new wave of fans. Well, here's something that I run into a lot, because a lot of these fans are teenagers and uh very young 20-year-olds, like 20, 23. Cutoff would be 25. And so nothing wrong with that, but they scour the internet for any and all information about what he's doing now and have no knowledge of his past. They're more interested about now. And, I can't really fault them for that, because when I was a teenager, I I only cared about like the last 5 years of what he was doing. And of course, when I was 10, that's when Newsies came out. And then as a teenager, yeah. So it was like I was following his career up to that point. So anyway, but the problem is that when I'm talking to them and I tell them about his career, they don't care, or I'm a liar. And so the reason I bring this up is because when a month ago, this uh, article dropped that imploded the internet. He was interviewed for I don't know what magazine, but he the big thing was he thanked Leonardo DiCaprio for rejecting roles. Okay, well, a few months before that, I was in a chat room with a bunch of these younger Christian Bale fans. And we were talking, and they want to place now, whatever's going on now with what happened 20 years ago, 20, 25 years ago. Please stop doing that. Because his career 20, 25 years ago is not what's going on now. Look, when he did Captain Corelli's Mandolin, it nearly destroyed his career. Okay. I'm not even joking. The only two people that came out of that fine was Nicolas Cage and the girl that was in it. I can't even remember, because the one thing I remember about Captain Corelli's Mandolin is before it was released to theaters, everybody was reading the book in anticipation for the movie, and it turned out that the movie sucked. Okay, it bombed. People hated it. It was bad. All right. And the two stars in the movie, Nicolas Cage and I think it was Penelope Cruz. I could be wrong on that. And they came out of it just fine. But the rest of them, like Christian Bale, suffered. So like years later, you may like the movie and it may get a comeback. But the problem is that it bombed. See, this is the problem, is that they never want to see that this movie did terrible and that the actors suffered. Okay. But it did. Right. Uh, uh, like Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, they bombed. They weren't blockbuster hits, but they have a new following now. Dark Crystal got a TV series now. but they did not do well in the theater. People hated them because Jim Henson was always known for the Sesame Street and the Muppets and all of those. People hated it because they did not understand it. Why would Jim Henson do something that kids couldn't see? Okay, that's what you have to understand. Even look, David Bowie couldn't save the labyrinth. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So I was in this chat room with these fellow fans of Christian Bale, and they were adamant that he was the heartthrob of the 90s. I tried to explain that he was not. He was overshadowed by Leonardo DiCaprio. I was a teenager in the 90s, and I saw I saw it in real time. Okay. I came to despise. I've talked about it in other videos where I really did not like Leonardo DiCaprio or anything. I really did. I'm a fan of him now. I mean, Catch Me If You Can is one of my favorites, and it needs to stop being overlooked. It's such a good movie. Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorites. And look, you can like Titanic. I'm I did have somebody point out, well, if you hate it, why do you have we were going through my grandparents' house. This two VHS set was in their house. It's still sealed. And I was like, I think it'd be funny just to have it up there because I have been ranting about the movie so much. So that's why I put it up there. And I can take a joke. Anyway, but I'm not saying that you have to dislike the movie or anything, but both Kate and Leo, they hate it. Leo has said several times that he thinks his acting makes him look like a punk. And Kate says she really does not like her accent in it. This is coming from someone who really doesn't care about them. Why do I know these things? I don't know. So yeah, love the movie, but, but the actors don't. And but yeah, Leo was the heartthrob, and he did a lot of movies in the 90s. It was like I'm wondering why Man in the Iron Mask is overlooked because that was a good movie. He did a good job in that one. And why fixate so much on Titanic? But they didn't want to believe that Christian Bale was in Velvet Goldmine. He was with Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor has even talked about it. Yeah, he talked about it, and and I have the movie. So yeah, Christian Bale had a glam rock phase. And look, Christian Bale really wasn't doing that many movies in the 90s. They didn't want to believe that he was a child actor. Then explain this. That's him on the cover, kids. Oh my gosh. Then who was that in Henry V? Kenneth Branagh. I went back and I watched, because when I was in Shakespeare class, we watched Henry V. And I went back and I watched it, and I was reading some of the trivia for that. And Kenneth Branagh said in an interview that when he throws Christian, well, he doesn't throw Christian Bale, but it's a young Christian Bale over his shoulder, on his back, because of course, Christian Bale's character, if you know Henry, it's no spoilers. I mean, well, it is kind of, I guess, but anyway, he's dead, and it's it's the dead character Christian Bale on his back, and Kenneth Branagh said that he hurt his back So the pained look on Kenneth Branagh's face is from having to carry Christian Bale, young Christian Bale. Look, he did a fantasy movie, and he worked with Sir Christopher Lee. He did a Treasure Island, and it was a TV movie and everything. Yeah, explain all of these. How is he not a child star? Explain this to me. Holy shit. And but and then they didn't want to believe this was the one that didn't make sense to me. So they didn't want to believe that he was in Little Women. And oh man, I had a friend who was obsessed with Little Women. Now, she was also obsessed with the Mighty Ducks. So, because she had a crush on Emilio Estevez. But I just remember she loved the book Little Women. And so when Little Women came out, we watched it all the time. And so at sleepovers, it was either, it was like, which one are we going to see? And which was a great break from Mac and Me. Holy shit. She was, oh, how much we saw of Mac and Me. I just, oh my gosh. And I find it hilarious that there are channels now reacting to Mac and Me. And it's like, nope, still hate it. And, but these young Christian Bale fans didn't want to believe that he was in it. And I said, yeah, the one with Winona Ryder. And they're like, no, you're thinking of Edward Scissorhands, and that's Johnny Depp. And I'm like, no. What are you talking about? Vincent Price is not in. He had passed away a year before this one came out. They're like, no, no. My brain hurts. I'm not kidding you. This is the actual fight that happened. They were convinced. Look, yes, Winona Ryder is in Edward Scissorhands. I have it. You know, when Johnny Depp convinced us that his hands were scissors. But good Lord. How she said that with a straight face, I'll never know. Anyway, continuing on. But Winona Ryder did other movies. She was in Little Women. Christian Bale played Lowry. A young Kirsten Dunst was in that. Wasn't that the one? It's been a while. But was it Susan Sarandon, their mom? Like I said, it's been a while, but it seems like, yeah, oh my gosh. I loved that movie. I used to have it, and there are a lot of movies that I got rid of, and I'm like, why the hell did I get, I was paying bills and everything, so I took them to the collection shop so that I could pay bills. I couldn't believe I got rid of La Bamba. I was like, what was I smoking for that one? La Bamba is so good. Oh my gosh. Yes, I had a little crush on Lou Diamond Phillips because of that one. So, oh my goodness. But anyway, so yeah, it was just like no matter what I said, they just didn't. I'm like, I go, I saw this happen in real time. You didn't exist when any of this happened. He was overshadowed by Ewan McGregor and Leo DiCaprio, like his entire career. All Leo DiCaprio had to do was breathe, and girls loved him. Oh my gosh. Was Christian Bale young Obi-Wan Kenobi? No. And Christian Bale actually auditioned for one of the characters in, I think it was Mercutio, in Romeo plus Juliet. Look, I don't like Romeo plus Juliet, but Mercutio, the gentleman who played Mercutio killed it. I loved that character. Okay? I, I'm not even kidding. When he came out and he, during that, oh yeah. I remember sitting in class and I was bored out of my skull. But when he came out and he's dressed the way he was and he's, I mean, he like belted out his speech and everything. I'm just like, oh, I love it. I love this dude. Oh man. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was Mercutio that Christian Bale tried out for. And so anyway, yeah, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't Romeo. And but it was one of the other characters. But and they just refused to hear me. And then they started talking about American Psycho. Now, I'm pretty sure that all these young people, all these young Christian Bale fans, they're big on American Psycho because of the Dahmer series. So it's a trendy thing to do to talk about these slasher films. And so, of course, they're going to go straight to American Psycho. But the thing is, they talk about it while not actually talking about it. How many times are they going to circulate the clips where he's dancing in the plastic suit? We've seen it 1,000 times. Okay, find something new, or actually talk about, don't do the Spark Notes version of the film. Actually talk about it, because as far as we know, you didn't actually see it. All right. I saw it in the theater. Okay. Yeah, because I remember, see, I tried to tell them that Leonardo DiCaprio was the first choice. They didn't believe me. They called me a liar. They called me all sorts of names and all this stuff. Yeah, because, you know, even though I was alive and they weren't, to see all of this happen, I don't know jack shit about this. And so I told them, I was like, well, yeah, sure. The director actually wanted him, but the studio did not. They wanted Leo DiCaprio because Leo DiCaprio was a heartthrob. He would fill the seats. The studio felt that Christian Bale would not. And they just refused to hear it. And I finally left. I was like, fuck this, I'm out. Well, fast forward to when this uh article hit, you know, imploded the internet. And wouldn't you know, Christian Bale confirmed everything I said. I wasn't lying. Everything I said was true because I saw it. They didn't, because they didn't exist. See, what are you proving? What are you trying to prove? You're not proving anything. Oh my gosh, one person out of that group apologized, and I appreciate that they did. But, look, Christian Bale does not need you to defend his honor. He doesn't. All right. I was just stating facts. All right. Because I was there. I was there, Gandalf. 3,000 years ago, I was there. I saw it in real time. Okay. I don't understand this superiority complex or whatever it is where you think you need to defend this actor that you've never met and probably never will. Okay. Be a fan of the person. Fine. Oh my gosh. That is so irritating. Oh, yeah. Anyway, look, they appreciate you and everything, watching the movies, buying the merchandise, all of that stuff. When you're defending the living shit out of them and attacking other fans, I'm pretty sure they don't appreciate that. Right? Good Lord. All right. Man. All right. So what does this have to do with Christian Bale and Star Wars? What does this have to do with any of that? Because, okay, now back, if you remember, I said back in 2018, the Star Wars fans didn't want him. All right, he'd played a superhero, you know, and all that stuff, and they didn't like that. Nope, don't like that. I will use all the references. Okay, and so what has happened since then? He's played a villain. Okay, he's played a Marvel villain, and he he thanked Leo DiCaprio for me. Now all of a sudden everybody is hyped up on American Psycho. Like, American Psycho has been there since like 2000. Where have you been? No, I love people. It's always been there. Holy crap. There's even that weird sequel. Like, I feel bad for Mila Kuntz, or Kuntz, or however you say last. I'm sorry that I'm saying it wrong, but she even has said, "I'm I hate it. Don't ever watch it." I had a friend. He said that he was drunk out of his mind, and he and his friend watched it, and even drunk and high, it's bad. Don't, do not watch it. It's just terrible. And apparently, what it is that like this girl was traumatized because she watched Patrick Bateman butcher her mom, and so then she becomes a serial killer. And it's like so like the creator of American Psycho, so the guy that wrote the book, was outraged that the person who made this sequel tied in American Psycho. He's like, how dare you? So they did not have the permission from the creator to do it. So that should give you enough. And so originally it was supposed to be standalone, just an original idea concept, and it was so bad that they had to tie. That's all you need to know. Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. So now, now present day, I came across this this blog while I was trying to find out, because I saw something where apparently Christian Bale is going to do another Bob Dylan movie. How many more Bob Dylan movies do we need? I have nothing against Bob Dylan. I really don't. I like some of his music, and not all, you know. And but I feel like there's a lot of times where they're like, we need to do a music biopic. Who should we do? Bob Dylan. He's Simon and Garfunkel. Okay, can we do them? I would love to see a biopic on them. Good grief, man. So I was looking around trying to figure out if he really was, because I seem to remember that Christian Bale had said that he had a really rough time trying to get into character for Bob Dylan. So I wanted to see if this was legit, or, you know, one of those rumors, as journalists like to do. And I came across this article, and I will of course put it in the description box, and I just started laughing. I was like, you've you gotta be shitting me, because it goes back to 2018, where I talked about Christian Bale wanting to be in Star Wars because he is a fan, still has his look, Christian Bale, if you ever see this, okay, I do have to say that when I was a little kid and I lived in a cul-de-sac, okay, I grew up, I've been a fan of Star Wars since I was 3 years old, and there were a lot of neighbor kids who had, like, the Ewok merchandise and everything. I remember reading the Wicket books and all of that. Well, there was a neighbor kid who lived down the street, and his older brother gave him the action figures that he had from the 70s, and we used to play with those all the time. But I didn't know who these characters were, like Han Solo and Lando and Chewbacca and all. I didn't know who they were until a few years later when I saw Return of the Jedi. So so I was just playing with these space characters because I was watching the cartoon series, the Droid and Ewok Power Hour. So so I'm not making fun of you. If you ever see this Christian Bale, please understand that. I would like to hope that he knows that I'm not making fun of him. So anyway, I saw this article and it talks about how Star Wars fans want Christian Bale as live action Thrawn. Now, there's of course where somebody photoshopped him looking like Thrawn, the blue face and the red eyes and everything. So they used him when he was in Equilibrium, which is a very good movie. Think of like Matrix, and I can't think of the other movie because it is like a tie-in with another movie, but very much like the futuristic computer thing. It's a good movie. I like it and everything. And but but this is the thing. I was reading this and I'm just thinking these are the same fans who didn't want Christian Bale back in 2018 because he screwed up Batman. But now because you've seen him play a villain, which I don't in Equilibrium, I can't remember if that was a villain or if he was playing a good guy. Sometimes it kind of blurs with some of these characters if they're really anyway. But this is the thing. American Psycho, he plays a bad guy. And it's been there since 2000. Oh, you guys crack me up. I love fans. They crack me up. Because they did not want him to play Darth Revan. They didn't want him when it was suggested that he played Darth Revan. Absolutely not. He does not deserve to be in the Star Wars family, right? Well, now they've seen him play Gore. It's like he could play Grand Admiral Thrawn. And I love that they used Equilibrium because again, Equilibrium is a good movie. I actually liked it and everything, but it does give me the it's like Matrix and the first Matrix. And yeah. And everything. But so yeah, he's played bad guys before. And you're just kind of late to the party. I mean, I don't know. 2018. No, he can't because he screwed up Batman. Now, could he play? You know, this is the thing about Grand Admiral Thrawn. You guys have the animated Grand Admiral, and you've been fine with that. But now all of a sudden, because you saw him as Gore, you want him to play the live. I don't know. I don't know that there needs to be a live action Thrawn. I feel a lot of times fans in all, not just the Star Wars. So before the Star Wars fans think that I'm picking on them. No, in every fan base, a lot of times they get too dependent on like the live action. And so they see a character and they're like, this should be live action. And it's like, not everything needs to be live action. No, don't need to spend billions of dollars to make a live action and then you suddenly see it and you're like, no, that's because you think about it. Netflix did the Cowboy Bebop live action and it was so bad. And everyone's like, oh, because anime doesn't work live action. Speed Racer worked. What was it? Alita, the the Battle Angel, or what? I know that I'm not saying that correctly, but everybody loved that one. I didn't hear a bad thing about it. So when done correctly, anime can be translated into live action. But they did such a rush job on Cowboy Bebop, and I know that Cowboy Bebop could be done right. Plus, they didn't let the creator have any say. Plus, Ranma One Half, Japan did a live action. It is hilarious. I'm sorry, but you guys, if you ever get a chance, because I don't know if it's available here in the US anymore, because I was able to find it, and just by chance, and I don't think it's available anymore, but I was watching a few episodes. it just it is so funny, and it's well done. It really is. And I love Ranma One Half, as you can see. So it's been a favorite since high school. So but with Grand Admiral Thrawn, I think, I mean, I'm not saying anything. I mean, the Photoshop that they've done, it looks well. It looks good. I mean, once I butcher the English language, it looks really good and everything. I'm not saying that Christian Bale would do a bad job with the character. The problem is that would they have a good script for it or anything like that? I mean, would it would have to be the series itself or the movie itself, because you think about how long we waited for a Kenobi series or a Kenobi movie, and I'm not hearing a lot of good things about it. So yeah, that's a disappointment right there. And I feel bad for Ewan McGregor because he loves playing Obi-Wan Kenobi. He embraces that character, and I love the fact that he shows tribute to Sir Alec Guinness. I mean, I really appreciate that he does that. And but I did look at other expanded universe characters, and one that stood out for me that I think Christian Bale would be great for, if not Admiral, well, two actually. One is Kyle Katarn. Now, the one thing about Kyle Katarn, since everybody was saying, no, he can't play Darth Revan. Of course, I don't know if anybody really remembers any of that anymore. A lot of times with the internet, it's forgotten next week. So the beauty of the internet. Sometimes it's forgotten next week, other times it lingers for 3 years. So you never know. But so maybe he could be Darth Revan, but Kyle Katarn, the thing about Kyle Katarn, even just the pictures that you see of Kyle Katarn, I can see Christian Bale playing this character. He's got like the rugged look and everything, and a lot like when Bale played Moses. And but he was a stormtrooper who defeated the New Jedi Order after the Empire fell. Now, Cassian, this is one of the things that I'm annoyed about with Disney and Lucasfilm, is that they cherry pick characters and then they like change them. So right now you have the Andor series, which follows Cassian Andor, who was in Rogue One. And of course, in that they took the Death Star plans, and it's just the next movie is, of course, the original trilogy. And a New Hope, it goes right into A New Hope. Well, it seems like there was a video game where you get the Death Star plans, and it seems like Kyle Katarn was the one that you were playing. You played Kyle Katarn and you had to get those Death Star plans. So to me, it seems like Cassian is Kyle Katarn. So they cherry picked again. But according to Lucasfilm, expanded universe doesn't exist. But I could be wrong. It could have been another character altogether. But I just remember playing that game and having to get the Death Star plans and everything. I had forgotten about it until I was searching for Kyle Katarn, and that showed up. You know, the screenshot showed up, and I was like, "Wait a minute." Yeah. Now another character was he was like, I don't know how many great, like maybe how his name is Cade Skywalker, and he's like probably the great grandson of Luke Skywalker, and he's extremely rebellious. He's a pilot, and he's like on the edge of going into the dark side, right? He so Luke Skywalker's Force Ghost is constantly visiting him and is telling him, do not go to the dark side, stay with, you know, you can't do that. And so yeah, he was in the comics, and I just remember the whole thing about how he would have these constant fights with his great grandfather's Force Ghost, because Luke would constantly tell him, no, you can't go to the dark side, you need to stay away from those feelings and all this stuff. And he's like, get off my back, old man. So that would be another one that Christian Bale could play. I thought about Dash Rendar. It seemed like Disney was thinking about bringing Dash into, I don't know if they were going to make a book about him or bring him into a TV series or what have you. Dash seems like they brought Dash into the video games. I mean, they did this a lot. LucasArts did this so much, where a lot of the characters that were in the books were also brought into the video games. I mean, like when Grand Admiral Thrawn was placed in the video games, that was a huge deal. I mean, us playing it and waiting for that reveal was just like, is he coming? Where is he? Where is he? Because we wanted to actually see what he looked like. And yeah, Admiral Thrawn has gone through a lot of physical changes. Oh, if you ever have a chance, go back and see what he looked like at the start, and just continue to go. Somebody needs to do that, you know, because there's so many times where they have the change, you know, the evolution of a character. Yeah, you need to do that with Thrawn to see what he looks like. But yeah, Dash Rendar is like a smuggler, and it seems like he's a mechanic as well. And he would hang out with Han Solo and Chewbacca, and he always talked about how he was better than Han Solo. And finally, after a mission, he finally admitted that Han Solo was better than him or whatever. But because Han Solo saved his ass. So but I don't know that, I mean, I'm not saying that Christian Bale couldn't play him, but I don't know that I mean, that's like he's kind of the Tom Bombadil of and the reason I say that, you know, ever since Rings of Power came out, people are like, oh yeah, well, Tom Bombadil was omitted. You want to know, because I like Tom Bombadil. Okay, I love Tom Bombadil, but if he were, here's what Tom Bombadil does. You're doing great, kids. Go this way. That's the whole point. Why would you put that in? I mean, it Why? You think about it. If Peter Jackson had put that character in the movie, how annoying would that be? And he appeared one more time, like later on in the book, and did the exact same thing. Great kids, now go that way. He's like the map quest. Oh, I'm really dating myself saying map quest. But I mean, it was just a fun little character. That was enjoyable. I liked him. We all liked him. Well, Dash Rendar is kind of the same thing. I mean, he didn't have a backstory. Tom Bombadil got a ballad. So anyway, to close it all up, because this has been longer than I expected it to be. Um, when I saw this article, I got a good laugh out of it, and I wanted I knew I needed to do a follow-up on it. Quite honestly, do I think that Christian Bale could play Admiral Thrawn? Of course I do. Do I think that there needs to be a live action Grand Admiral Thrawn? I think that there's a lot of times where fans are dependent these days. There's too many live action of anything. Nothing, no disrespect to Christian Bale, because I do think that he could play it. There are these other characters that I would love to see. He could play Kyle Katarn. I mean, should they bring Dash Rendar? If they give him a good backstory, look, let's be honest here, okay? Empire Strikes Back, the Empire is coming into Cloud City. That guy with the ice cream maker got a massive backstory. He got an action figure. He got a name. He got everything. Let's do that for Dash Rendar, okay? And let's have Christian Bale play. Why not? The fans love that character from Empire Strikes. Why not? let's give respect to Dash Rendar. Oh, good heavens. But I really do think this is my theory, that you saw him play this bad guy in Marvel and you decided, why not? why couldn't he play Darth Ravon in 2018? The fans crack me up so much. Well, anyway, I'm gonna close it up here.